The Klyntar race, otherwise known as symbiotes, are some of the most gnarly, fascinating, and downright scary beings in the Marvel multiverse. Now, over the years, we've seen some brand new iterations of some of these characters thanks to adventures on alternate Earths. And today, we are counting down the top 10 alternate versions of symbiotes better than the original. Now, take that better than the original bit with a grain of salt. Many of these alternate versions of symbiotes, primarily Venom and Carnage alternates if we're being perfectly honest, are quite unique, and perhaps more powerful than the original, or have received some adoration for going above and beyond their namesake in the 616. So with that in mind, friends, let's get to our list. But also be sure you stick around to the end of the video because we got some bonus content for you. Bonus! I don't know what it is, but it's probably me being an idiot, so you know, let's get to it. Starting us off in at number 10, Old Man Logan Venom. Let's start off our list with an alternate version that most of us can't help but love. We're talking the Venomized T-Rex and Old Man Logan. When Logan, who, if you have not read this alternate universe story, is old and trying to keep his family afloat but also had to retire his claws because he accidentally killed all of the X-Men, agrees to help a now blind Hawkeye across America as a means of paying back a debt to the Hulk, who is now They cross through the Savage Land. Still with me? And who's in the Savage Land but none other than a Tyrannosaurus Rex that Venom has bonded to, naturally. It chases them, and only recently we learned why Venom had beef with them and chased them. It wasn't just pure rage or hunger or whatever else drives T-Rexes to do what they do, but rather, in the prequel Old Man Hawkeye, we learned that Venom had bonded to Multiple Man. He wanted revenge on Hawkeye for killing some of his clones, and in the process Hawkeye and Kate Bishop had lured him into the wild, aka the Savage Land, where he was devoured by a T-Rex. The same one that he managed to bond with and then chase Hawkeye and Logan with, so I guess sometimes you win some. In at number 9, EXOMORPH RHINO. Here is an alternate version that exists within the 616 universe. Spider-Woman Maddie Franklin ends up taking on this concoction in 2000's Spider-Woman Volume 3 Issue 11. The EXOMORPH RHINO is an amalgamated version of Venom, Dr. Octopus, and of course, Rhino. Spider-Woman ends up fighting against him and in the process discovers that he can reshape the environment with his brain. And then Madam Web gets involved in the brawl as well. While he's not a version that manages to stick around all that long, he is scary AF and definitely proves to be a worthy foe of Maddie's. Moving on to number 8, Magic Venom. Another alternate that popped up in the 616, here we have Magic Venom. So let's backtrack a wee bit. In Venom Volume 4 Issue 13, after Eddie Brock was separated from Venom, he and his son end up in the middle of Malekith's invasion. Eddie Brock decides to be a hero and takes them on, which draws the attention of the Dark Elf's War Witches, who gives him something called a Dreamstone, which grants its holder the gift of having their dreams and desires brought to light. Where do I get one of those? So Eddie gets his hands on it, and what does he do? Well, he wishes to become Venom once again, but this time he's got a new look because of the stone. He's lean, he's still mean, and he's ghoulish and covered in spikes, of course. The downside? Well, this version of Venom is quite murderous and has no mind of its own, causing some good old rampant fun. Moving on to number 7, probably my personal favorite on this list, a pigeon. Yes, I am sorry, but we had to include this one on the list. In the Spider-Cat universe, which yes, it does exist, look it up, it's great, which appeared in Spider Island, I Love New York City Issue 1, we see a version of Spider-Man that is, in fact, a kitty cat. Yes! Sorry, it's just too hilarious and wonderful to not mention. And the alternate version of Venom that appears in this universe comes in the form of a pigeon. Pigeons are great, guys. I know a lot of people see them as flying rats, but you know, they got little hearts and souls too, guys. They're little creatures who can love. Now when Spider-Cat is chilling on a rooftop, his spider sense tingles, or kitty sense. Kitty spidey sense? Spider-Cat sense. Sitting on a telephone wire across from him is a pigeon whom Spider-Cat declares to, "You've got a lot of nerve coming here, Venom Pigeon." The two then duke it out, there's a slew of jokes about how many lives Spider-Cat has, and then he beats the crap out of the pigeon, only to reveal more Venom pigeons. And then we pull out of the panel to see that it's all just a video game. Except, Spider-Cat is real, chilling in the room where the video game is being played, and he quietly slinks out of a window putting on a mask to presumably fight more Venom pigeons. Or at least I hope. And at number 6, the MC2 Carnage. If you have a sick sense of humor like we do, you'll probably really enjoy the MC2 version of Carnage, otherwise known as Specimen 297. Now in the MC2, Spider-Man is Spider-Girl, and Carnage bonds with her friend Moose, who wanted to use the symbiote to cure his father's cancer. It backfires a little with the symbiote also infecting Spider-Girl's little brother, which was a bit of a mindfuck for her heroine. She eventually uses a sonic blaster to defeat Carnage, seemingly for good, but the symbiote would appear later on in the timeline, sort of, when samples of it was used by the government on a clone of Spider-Girl's, who then kills the real Spider-Girl and eventually becomes a homicidal vigilante, so And at 5, Venomized X-23. Now to be fair, there were a lot of dope Venomized characters who first appeared in the Venomverse story arc, and all of them are pretty great. But for the sake of this list, we decided to go with Venomized X-23, or rather a Venomized version of Laura Kinney, which looked a lot like a Venomized Wolverine, because she is technically Wolverine, or was at one point. Her origin story on her home of Earth 24398 begins fairly similar to the one that we're familiar with from Earth 616, except when she escapes the Weapon X facility, she does so by accidentally freeing the Venom symbiote, who then bonds with her and helps her gain her freedom. Now on the run, she befriends some street kids who she ends up sharing parts of the symbiote with in order to help protect them prior to her being recruited by Venomized Captain America to help fight against the poisons in the main Venomverse storyline. Also, she looks super dope. So, moving on to number 4, Ultimate Marvel Carnage from 1610. The Ultimate Universe on Earth 1610 is home to modernized and much more grim versions of Marvel characters. Praised for how dark and raw much of it felt, it is also the home to a terrible story event that pretty much caused its downfall, Ultimatum, which saw a slew of unnecessary character deaths. All that aside, it did give us versions that we absolutely adore, including Ultimate Carnage. Now this version of Carnage is a self-regenerating vampiric organism. What? Right? Isn't that cool? Absolutely bananas. It was created from the DNA of Peter Parker and the Lizard, with the organism only wanting to feed on the DNA of others in order to stabilize itself. Eventually, it turns into a damaged form of Richard Parker, Peter's dad, causing a particularly brutal brawl between the two. Up next at 3, Spider-Man 2099. Hailing from Earth 928, which takes place in the year 2099, this alternate version of Venom who appears in the Spider-Man 2099 comics is Cron Stone, who just so happens to be Spider-Man Miguel O'Hara's older half-brother. Cron was abused as a child by their android housekeeper and was so unstable that he actually tried to kill Miguel after he discovered that he was his half-brother. Cron himself was almost murdered, but as he lay in a sewer, he was saved by the Venom symbiote who bonded with him. The symbiote mutated over the years, giving Cron new abilities compared to the 616 Venom, which includes acidic blood and saliva. How very alien. Their whole story is really messed up, and eventually the symbiote ditches Cron and bonds with the son of Namor, fleeing into the ocean, never to be seen again. Although later on, part of the symbiote itself was studied at the Alchemix lab. Up next, number 2, Venomized GALACTUS. Oh, Venomized GALACTUS is yet another alternate version from the 616 that makes an appearance on our list, although a short-lived appearance unfortunately, despite looking super dope. This version came to be when Mysterio created an illusion of a Venomized GALACTUS while fighting Spider-Man in Web of Spider-Man issue 90, volume 1 from 1992, which just so happened to be Spider-Man's 30th anniversary, with a holographic cover. Gotta love the 90s. Anywho, Mysterio creates a bunch of different illusions to mess with Peter's head, including this fella, who shouts out, "We are mad now, Spider. Venom will be the star. We are going to crush you like the little bug that you are for good," but also looking like Galactus in a Venom suit, which is kind of adorable. And finally, at number 1, Ultimate Venom. Introduced in Ultimate Spider-Man issue 33, this version of Venom from Earth 1610, the Ultimate Universe, was literally designed to look monstrous, versus looking like a supervillain, described by his creators as a huge, cancerous/tumorous creature. And that's pretty on point, just look at him. The Ultimate Venom isn't fully sentient like the 616 Venom, but it still has a will of its own and can act independently of whoever it is bonded to. When bonded, Eddie Brock described the experience as having two minds, his own and another filled with nothing but ravenous hunger. The other neat thing about it is that it had an overwhelming desire to be bonded to, or to consume, Spider-Man, and was willing to ditch whatever host it was bonded to in order to achieve this desire. And it didn't matter the Spider-Man either, guys. He was down for Peter Parker or Miles Morales. This Venom wanted both those boys, so. Alright, there we have it, friends. What other alternate versions of a symbiote character surprised you? Which ones are your favorites and which ones do you detest? Give us a shout in those comments below and let us know your thoughts and feels. If you dug this video, you guys know what to do. Spread that love, hit that like button, and be sure to subscribe to Top 10 Nerd for more lists just like this one. And be sure to stick around for the bonus content, which is coming up, and I'm probably gonna be an idiot in it, so great times. Also, thank you for watching, guys. Bye. When I say yes, if you could really quickly have a bunch of PNGs fly behind me of cats, you know, that'd be dope. It's more work for you, but I love you, thank you. Venom Pigeon, it's got a weird tongue. Every single panel you could ever want of Spider Cat and Venom Pigeon is in this script.